We are connecting to you too.
Welcome to Mornings with Matt, personal and professional development training that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio.
Joey Sweeney is not with us, but darn does his voice sound good in the morning.
It's
I gotta
such
tell
a
you.
nice voice. Like, really did a good job with that thing.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mornings with Matt. It's a beautiful, beautiful day today, Tuesday morning. Mr. Brian Sweeney's in the house with me. Yo, what's up, Bri guy?
What's up?
Feeling
I
good.
can't get over that slow cheers. I like this one better. That gets right to it, you know, but we'll deal with that later.
I like that we have different kinds of cheers, like different versions.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm up for that. Like
Just one's just like...
I feel like the other one, it's just like a hesitation, though. It just hesitates. I'm not all about the hesitation.
I get that.
But I guess this, like, the slow clap deal. You know what the second one is, the slower one? It's like, and this is a true thing, it sounds like one or two people start to cheer, and then everybody else just follows, like a bunch of followers. Here, listen. You hear that?
Ah, I do hear that now.
You weren't paying attention. Let me
No,
try it
I
again.
heard it. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Was the camera on you?
No,
The camera needs to be on you while
Needs
you
to be on
listen.
my face. All right.
Watch this. Okay, look toward the camera. Okay, listen. Yeah, you hear the build there?
Yeah, it's like this slow sort of, and then everybody's in.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of cool. But what's interesting about that? That's called the herd effect.
The herd effect?
Yeah, you never heard of the herd effect?
I've heard the word, but I don't remember.
Heard the word herd?
Herd. Herd. I've heard you say the herd. What is it? The herd.
Effect?
No, you said it a different way, but
The herd bird?
Herd, whatever. All right, I'm done.
Herdy Hancock.
Herbie Hancock. It's Herbie Hancock.
So the herd effect is this idea of people like company in general. And this could be for good or for bad, right? So the herd effect goes like this, and you'll know this from comedy, that when you tell a joke or you're in an improv scene and it's funny, and you know it's funny, but the audience didn't react, sometimes it's because they're nervous to react. I learned this from one of the books by Brene Brown. She mentioned that the emotion people are the most afraid to be in front of other people is joyful, because you feel exposed.
Sure.
You know, just imagine just a room full of people that are all just kind of there, and then you're like, "Yeah, today's great!" Like you feel out of place. You know. So the herd effect goes like this: if the guy next to me or the girl next to me starts to laugh or react, then I feel like I'm allowed to. I might have thought it was funny already, but until you're willing to laugh and then they're willing to laugh, and then I'm like, yeah, let's laugh or let's cheer or whatever, right? So you have this like, everybody else joins, right?
So this is also like, we used to joke about it, but how people get paid to just laugh. People get paid
That's
at
right.
certain spots to just kind of build that and create that environment where you feel comfortable with it.
100%.
And then inside of the commercial acting world, which is what we're working on right now in our classes, I talk about this, about being willing to affect the room you're in instead of letting the room affect you. So like a lot of times an auditioner will come in and they'll just straight up be affected by negative energy of the other person they're auditioning with, or like their own nerves, or sometimes even like there's a stress in the audition room that you can feel from like us trying to get through something or get to it. And instead of them coming in and shaking up our energy and like sending us joy and sending us a lot of positivity that would fuel us, instead they cling to whatever that energy is.
So let me ask you though, because I have a question about this, because I totally agree with you that you can come into an audition room and you can bring essentially light, love, and joy. Okay. And so if that's your intention, you can bring in light, love, and joy. But at the same time, I also preach the idea of you need to listen to the room. You have to be connected to the room. And and there is a you coming in to affect the room that is obtrusive and annoying, and and honestly rubs me the wrong way. You come in and you're like, bah, it's me. I'm gonna affect the room, and I'm like, you're not. You're affecting the room in a pretty bad way. You can leave the room. Like that's my opinion on it.
Sure.
But at the same time, I agree with you that there is that thing where some people come in and they're able to affect the room positively with light, love, and joy.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that? Because I know, like, what's funny is you and I, and we say this all the time, you and I could be coaching a concept and could actually say virtually the opposite thing, but technically we both agree with each other. It's just a matter of finding our way there.
Yeah. So when I say like sort of affect the room instead of letting it affect you, I'm specifically dealing with what we see that a lot is the negative energy and the if it is silent or these moments are happening inside of the room, actors tend to let those nerves build up in them,
right?
And then all of a sudden they're not becoming their best selves. So it's not that, and I used to do this, so I can speak right into that. It's not that fake, like, hey, like really coming in and just like pushing your energy on the room, like pushing like even volume and like, woo, that kind of deal.
Right.
Because again, that is super annoying. Like, and again, I used to be that dude. So it's more about kind of settling into it and bringing your positive energy and sort of sending your energy to that person, being patient with them. Like you can tell and sense when somebody is nervous or even annoyed, frustrated. And so sometimes they walk in and they're like letting the energy, even sometimes going into Brene Brown actually, create a false narrative in their brain.
There you go. Yeah.
So I'll talk about in specifically like callbacks. You see this because a lot of times clients they're like sitting at their computer doing their thing, and some people, they create a false narrative that they don't like what's happening up there, and so they're on their computer because I'm not good enough or whatever, and they're just working because that's their job.
Right.
And so that's more, I guess, along the lines of what I'm speaking on there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you never know. I mean, we've been getting castings coming out like crazy. So all of a sudden, all these productions that have been put on hold, this is good for all the actors out there, they're starting to flood in. I mean, we've got like 3 invoices pending, and we've got about at least 3 new incoming castings that are right there on the verge of about to go. Yeah, for sure. And thank you, Joey. And we got But what's interesting is what people don't really realize, is I think the casting director, here's the thing. It's okay because it's why we get paid, but we tend to be that middleman that's a buffer on both sides to sort of take some of the heat.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to lift the veil right now for everybody so you know what it's like. So we get an email, I don't know, maybe like a week and a half ago, like, hey, I think we got a project. What's your new COVID policies? Blah blah blah. We go, hey, we've done it. We got this. We have these 2 options. Cool. Okay, great. Then don't hear from them. Check in. Like, yep, we're waiting on client. Yep, check in. We're waiting. Cool. Then they check in with me yesterday, and they're like, yep, looks like we're gonna go. So blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, great. So send me specs when you got them. They're like, won't have them till Thursday at the earliest, but we want you to have a casting on Saturday. It's like, we're going to do our best. We either have the casting Saturday or Monday. It's going to be one of those 2 days. But the truth is, like, that's how the industry works. I wrote about it in the book, Acting is My Day Job, 7 Strategies to Market and Make Money as an Actor. But this idea of the hurry up and wait, right? So that's a big part of our industry. And if you're not good at figuring out how not to be anxious, but to let things come to you and then deal with most important thing first, I mean, it can be very, very hard. So going back to your idea of walking into the audition room, you don't know what that person's doing on their computer because of the way the industry is. A, that person may not be a decision maker. B, if they are, they may just be in a position where they have to be working on the schedule for the next day because they just got a new piece of information and they're going to be watching your audition back soon. Maybe later that day.
Yeah.
So the question, I think, is how do you get the people in the room to. Okay, so what's the twist here? Because I was gonna say look up, but I don't even think it's that. So here's the deal. Sometimes I'm gonna look up and I'm gonna go, like curious, like I wonder who just said that. I wonder who's in the room. Like, interesting. And I think that would come from being good, from talent.
Sure.
From somebody coming in and hitting the note, and the director who's typing away might go, huh. And then when that person leaves, they might go, who was that? And you're like, Brian Sweeney. And they're like, Brian Sweeney. You have their headshot? Yeah. You bring it over to them, and then they're like, cool. And then they're back to their computer. And I know, I'm like, well, he likes Brian Sweeney. I know that, you know. Yeah. What you don't want is for them to look up and go,
yeah, totally.
Who the heck is that, and why are they auditioning? Did we call them back? I know they weren't on my list. Hey, who was that? Let me have their headshot.
Unprepared.
And you're going, well, the director didn't like that person.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say lift your head, and I think that is probably a good idea for actors. Is like the idea of what would cause somebody to lift their head, and that's probably just skill. At the end of the day, like doing the work, showing up, performing. Okay, great. But besides lifting their head up, and because this goes back to not even just auditioning, but also the idea of coming into a room. You know, the room is so important to me because I'm writing the book, The Best Listener in the Room, and the room is the space. It's like the environment around you. And how can you be the best listener in that space? And so I think going back to your idea is the room can affect you. If I walk into a room full of let's just say billionaire potential clients, I could let the room affect me, and it could just be like I'm freaking out. And from the freaking out place, I might go to that woo place, or I might go to total silence, or I might go to whatever I go to. If I'm affecting the room, I think here's the key. For me to affect the room, I have to listen to the room and figure out what does the room need right now. So if you're silent, or you're anxious, or you're pissed off and upset as a director in the room and I'm coming to audition for you, I don't want to necessarily shake up the energy in such a way that's trying to get you out of that state. But it's more like, listen to the state. What's going to help this state right now? And usually it's going to be talent. It's going to be you walk in, you do your job very well. And if I'm in a terrible mood as a director, why? Gosh, if I think it through, maybe it's because they haven't seen anybody that they wanted yet, and they're getting nervous about it.
Yeah.
And you are now the person that walks in and delivers, and they have that head up thing now. And guess what? They just went from being angry to being totally kind and pretty excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
They may be angry because their kid got kicked off the soccer team.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with anything. And you don't want to come in such a way that is a bulldozer effect, but you want to come in such a way that, yes, you want to shake up the energy. So I'm going to completely agree with you, but it's more like, in other words, you know who says this? Paul, our mentor and friend from the barbershop,
and the host of
Divine Roots. Yeah, he talks about this idea of, he feels like he has this ability, and I agree with him, that when he's in a space, present in a space, that the space feels more peaceful. And I think he does have that way about him.
Yeah.
You know, when he's there, you just sort of feel like, oh, everything's okay.
That's nice.
Right? And I think that's the idea. And that's what I do when I do my corporate trainings too, is I come in and I listen. I come in and I'm essentially a fly on the wall, but I'm a fly on the wall that's completely attentive. So that when you need it, the thing you think you need, I've already got it for you before you even knew you needed it.
Yeah. And you know what? I've seen that from you even in casting rooms too, like all over the place. So that'll be with a client sometimes, even just having a coffee right there for them before they even asked for it.
Yeah.
Just kind of noticing that was the case, or that their water it's not even empty yet, but it's like almost there. And so like before they have a chance to even think about asking for it or getting up for it, you've already taken care of that for them. Or noticing that a class needs a break. and just taking a break.
Yeah.
Like, just doing it in that moment because it's what feels right, or not taking a break. Like I had a break planned, but I don't need it right now.
Right.
The group doesn't need it. And I think that's the challenge is defeating that planning mind, that mind that
Right.
looks everything.
And you got to plan in order to improvise, right?
Yes, yeah. Plan so that you can improvise away from it. And you taught me that. So you get lesson plan, whatever it is, like you have this idea, this grand vision of where it will go and different thoughts that here or there, and then you just step in and listen for what's best. And I think that above all is, because there's all kinds of great things about this program here, but the thing above all is that you're walking in and whatever you need in that moment is what you're going to get. Like we're using the scripts as tools to do that, but like every class is so different, because if you're walking in and you've had a really tough week, like that, a huge part of that is going to be using this to release some of that for you.
Sure.
And like help you through that, or whether it's nerves or whatever, like it's going to be different for each person each time, and you never know what you're walking into. And that's what's exciting as a coach. Like when you get on board with that, like no class will ever be the same. So I could teach the same topic over and over and over, and it's literally never the same.
Even if it was the same students, it's never the same.
Absolutely.
Because
yeah.
they're all in a different place than where they were.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the amazing thing about listening and coaching and understanding and humility and all of these things. You know, you can coach if you know something somebody else doesn't know. And if you're willing to share that thing, you know, you've got that ability. But having said that, you better be excellent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're going to charge a certain amount of money, you better be excellent at that thing. And then this idea of the earned confidence, you know, it's different to come in and just be confident, like, I'm going to teach you. And that's the whole, like, I'm up here, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Instead of going, okay, I might do that sometimes up here, but it's because that's what the room needs the most. That's what these students need the most in this moment.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I love this concept. So what do we do? I mean, we should probably wrap this show with some sort of a tangible takeaway. And I think the best lesson here, and truthfully, I've been going through this the last 2-3 days, this exact thing that I'm gonna talk about, and I will share the tools that I've been using to get me through each day, because that's essentially what it is. So essentially, when things feel big, when it feels like there's so much and you feel out of control and you feel like there's all this, you know, stuff, the best thing we can do is to let go. And this comes back to God. This comes back to your belief in faith and different things. And at the end of the day, remember that you're just a speck, sort of, you know, and don't lift yourself up to be so big and so almighty, because you're not. So which means the situation you're going through, however much it makes you mad, sad, whatever, it's in the grand scheme of the universe and the history of the universe and the future of the universe, it's still just a speck. Mm-hmm. And so you grab that and you go, whew, and you bring it down, and then you let go and you say, okay, some of this is out of my control. Some of this is like, I can't necessarily control these things, so let me let it go. Let me breathe. Let me bring my heart rate down. And then let me figure out what's really going on. And then look at what's in front of me and, like, what's the most important thing? First thing first. And then get it done all the way to completion. That's the other thing I used to do terribly, was I wouldn't finish tasks.
Oh my God, I was so bad at that. So bad at that.
And it hurts you. Like, it's so painful to not finish a task and spend time on it, and then look at it 7 days later and you're like, ugh, that thing is still sitting on my to-do list from 7 days ago, and I had lost my to-do list and I just found it. And now I remember that I didn't finish the thing. Mm-hmm. And it was like a matter of another extra 10 minutes, and I could have had it done. And now it's turned into an extra 45 minutes, because now I got to kind of go back and redo some stuff or whatever, you know. Like, it always makes it harder.
Yeah.
So if you take most important thing and try to finish things to completion, all of a sudden the big stuff in front of you starts to narrow down, and you realize by essentially prioritizing and minimalizing the list, you'll find out that by doing the big things, by doing the most important things, sometimes the other things just go away. They just disappear.
That's awesome. I think that's absolutely great advice. It's worked for me, so I can say that hopefully it works for them.
Yeah. I mean, look at it this way. So I'm taking over some emailing around here, which can feel like that's a lot, you know. And I mean, we get a ton of emails. Okay, so you're like, okay. So what do you do? And then you look at the box, and it's like there's like a bazillion emails, and I just cleaned it yesterday, and like, what the heck?
How?
It's all full again, right?
It's like straight up magic.
So I'm going, okay, what do I have to do now in this moment? Well, I gotta do some research. I gotta figure out how can I make it so that this system creates a system so that I can live my life away from the email box and yet still not miss client interactions.
Yeah.
So I might do something like, I research, find a new app. I might do something where I figure out how to do autoresponders that I had that in a new way that I've never done before. I might, and I did do this, go through, and as things are coming in and going like, I don't need that. That's bogging my mind down. Unsubscribe. That thing is not bringing me joy. Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
And then it's like, fine, okay, that was stressful today, but guess what? It's not going to be stressful tomorrow because it's not going to come in tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and that goes, we talked about this the other day, but that goes into Kate's episode where she literally talked about just organizing in those ways. And so you talk about recently, which it is stressful. It's creating the system itself is super stressful because there's all this like stuff that goes into it and trying to figure it out. It's all new. You're learning brand new things and researching. But then the weight that it takes off is incredible. And we've seen it through different things we've done through automation, through just figuring out ways to set up systems that the things are doing things so that you can then go do other more important things.
Yeah.
You can reach more people. We can figure out ways to teach more online classes that can help people. Like it sets you up to be able to do that.
100%. Yeah, no, it's huge. So that's what we can do, everybody, is understand that it's going to come. And whether it feels good, feels bad, feels like a lot, feels like a little, like there's always a reason to be stressed and anxious. And so you're going to feel those things. I just believe that there's no getting away from it. So the question is, how do you react to it? And ideally, we're going to do what Brian teaches in the kids class. I used to do this thing because, kids love rules. They love to have a box to stay in. And so I used to do this thing where I would pretend to be military. And I'd be like, soldiers, line up. And the kids just loved pretending like they were in the military. Boys, girls, didn't matter their age. They're like, yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir. And they're having fun and they're obeying. And they're learning how to listen to rules, and it's all of those things are happening all at the same time. There's these big lessons there. Well, guess what? When we grow up, we're just big kids. Mm-hmm. So we need rules too. Like we really want them. We desire them. We want someone to tell us what to do and when to wake up and when to go to bed and don't eat the ice cream. Like we'd actually love someone to go like, nope. I'm fine. All right, fine. Nope. Right? Yeah. So anyway, Brian adapted this idea, and then you started saying something to the kids. You want to share that?
Yeah, so it happened through an improv class, but I started to tell them to say neutral. So they would lift up their hand. I would start at drill sergeant, like I learned from you, and then I pull my arms out and I go, neutral, and they would all go, neutral, and they loved it. But we just did this episode on the divine.
And what does that mean, neutral, to you?
Neutral,
when you say that to the kids?
Originally, I was looking at it from the improv point of view. So with the kids, they have either like so much energy, like so much energy, or they're just like nothing. There's like it's like this very nervous like. So the idea of neutral was I was trying to get them into the space to just relax,
yes,
and just listen,
boom,
and let whatever was going to happen from that moment happen in that moment.
And think about what they actually say in the military. I think I used to say what they really say, which is attention. Mm-hmm. They say attention, which means right. And what's interesting is it looks like they're tense. They're not. They're in a perfect position to listen and react. It's like in a basketball game, they call it the 3-point stance, and you're just ready to do anything. Your knees bent, you can go left, go right, go forward, go back. You could dribble, you could shoot. There's like, it's unlimited options of what you have to do in this one stance. And if you get to that place, then you get there, and then you have to relax from there. But you still have to stay in position. So it's like this, like, attention, right? Well, what is attention is to be present, to be focused, to be listening. So this is what you've gifted the kids, this idea of neutral, right? Okay, sorry. So I just wanted to just let you know, I mean, how profound this is, that you were teaching the kids this concept. You know, it was adapted from what we've been doing for years. And I believe this so much. Like, honestly, I like neutral better for kids. Maybe even for adults. Maybe even for the military. Maybe we should go do a training for the military and just let them know.
We figured this out, guys.
You know, but things should change, right? So if you found a better way, I want to celebrate that and go, dude, awesome. You took this idea we've been doing, you made it better. Like, from now on, when I teach the kids class, I'm going to say neutral.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense intellectually to me. All right, so anyway, so we're talking to Paul, and then what?
So we did this episode on just neutrality, like allowing yourself to become neutral and grounded in the space that you're in. And he really just helped us with that, and dealing with when you've got all this stress, like different ways to connect into that. And so neutral became the thing that we talked about. And he used that word, and he said, you want to just strive for neutral. You want to strive to become that, because here's the deal. And I was in a really great space that day.
Yeah.
So I was feeling really, really connected. I was feeling like very positive. I felt like my energy that I was sending out to like the world was strong. And so my question that I brought up to him was, what are you feeling from me right now? This is what I'm feeling. Are you feeling that? And then he sort of reframed it to help me go, I don't want you to even look at it that way.
Yeah.
I don't want you to see it as that, because if you see it as this big up, you're going to have a hard time growing. You're just going to start immediately going like this.
Yeah.
And when you're neutral, like you just keep raising that floor.
Well, and there could have been potentially a few circumstances that were responsible for some of those feelings. Maybe you had woken up early a few days in a row. Maybe you were eating right. Maybe you were whatever decisions were happening. Maybe something good was happening at work. Maybe you had some great classes last night. Whatever it is, and then the issue is, because you didn't like get to the root of it and figure out, that there was this outside force that's making me feel positive, and I'm like, I'm positive and I want to stay positive. Then the problem is, then when those outside forces change and you're not in that neutral place, then it's like, I'm negative and I want to get back to positive. What do I do?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah,
it goes down to that idea with critique, like if you honestly shouldn't like, you listen to both, but like, don't let either affect you too much, positive or negative. So a lot of people talk about the negative not affecting you, but also the positive can have the same harming effect. And so
100%.
He really spoke into that. And then when he said the neutral thing, and this is the power of, again, going back to the change idea, us changing and just listening to the room. I had no idea the profoundness of that, of neutral.
Right.
No clue. It's just what came to me in that moment. I'm looking at the kids, and I knew what I wanted to get out of them and was hoping that they would understand, and I saw this is the best way to do that. I was open to it not being that way at all. And it just happened to really click.
Yeah.
And they got it. They understood that idea. And it wasn't until, I mean, when we had that
I don't even
discussion-
think that you put two and two together, because you were telling me about Paul, and then I was like, dude, you've been saying that to the kids, man. Like, this is really, and you were like, oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I didn't even realize it till we talked about it. Yeah.
But you had been doing this thing sort of instinctually and organically that is so good for their souls, you know? And little do you know, like, we should be telling ourselves all the time, neutral. As a matter of fact, I started doing that.
Yeah.
I really did. I started telling myself, okay, go to neutral. And I see mine as like a gear shifter. So, you know, when you're in a stick shift car and you put it into neutral, the car relaxes. The car's not going to do any work in neutral. It's not going to, you know, it's fine. It's just cool.
It's just chilling.
And it could be parked. It could be flying down the freeway. You know, it could be on the back of a semi truck being towed away. It could be in any of those places. and it could still go to neutral. I can still be flying down the freeway and go to neutral and keep going.
Yeah.
But the car just relaxes in that state. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to react. Even if you try, it won't react to you.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Super cool.
And if you want to go to neutral, everybody, and you want to live the Brian Sweeney lifestyle here,
Neutral.
it sounds like this. And then Brian goes, "Okay, kids, I want you to go neutral."
Neutral.
No, but how soothing is that music? It's
Oh my
unbelievable.
gosh. Just want to take a nap every time.
That's from the Divine Roots podcast. If you haven't heard the Divine Roots podcast with us and our friend Paul, you really should check that out because we found a way to talk about some of these same topics, but in a place that's very neutral. I think
Very neutral.
Joey falls asleep every episode.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and I remember we listened back and I was like, oh man, that's my voice in that state. That's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
that's a
and I
whole
was like,
different
what is
guy
that
there,
sound in the background? That's not water. Oh, it's Joey
Joey
snoring.
snoring.
Yeah.
right? Powerful stuff.
Really good, really good. All right, good. So let's recap this and we'll get out here. Life's gonna come at you. You're gonna have some big obstacles, big things coming at you. What you got to do is learn to let go. Understand it's gonna come. So don't fight it. Acknowledge that this feeling is there. Maybe talk about it. I think talking about it's really good. But then don't dwell in it. So there's a difference between acknowledgement and then speaking about it and dwelling on it. And dwelling on it is something where you feel like I got to just keep bringing this up to try to get people to feel sorry for me versus I'm bringing this up looking for my own way to react in such a way that can get me back to this state of peace, back to the state of neutral, so that because from there, then you can do anything. Then you can react from a place that is not super reactive and emotional and whatnot. So you want to acknowledge the feeling and then try to release the emotion as soon as possible and then get yourself to a place of peace and then figure out, okay, from there, what's the best reaction?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Mornings with Matt and Brian in the morning. Thank you for listening. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Help us to spread this light-driven content to the planet.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.